ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमो ओं विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिन् इति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। So here, the horrible condition, the living entity which he faces in the abdomen of his mother is described. And it is described here being tormented like this. He counts his days, that for how long more I will be in this precarious condition. Why is he counting his days? Because he wants to come out of this confinement. It is just like few years back when there was a lockdown and people were in confinement of their homes. Certain areas were designated at one point of time and you cannot cross that area. Even the provision store you have to walk in is within that confinement. And we saw that how people were very anxious when this lockdown will get over. Imagine at least there was some freedom. You can walk from your house and you can walk to certain area. But within the womb of the mother, the confinement is so precarious that he is tormented from both the sides and he cannot escape. Suppose you are standing and from all the sides fire is burnt and you are facing that torment of the fire and you cannot come out. Imagine what kind of situation it is. So this is the situation for the child in the womb. One side it is Jhatara Agni, by which the child is tormented. We know that the acid in the womb of the mother, the acid in our stomach also we understand. It is utilized for digestion. That is why it is called as Jhatara Agni. If you have good hunger, that means you have a good Jhatara Agni. Otherwise, if you have poor digestion, you cannot digest the food, that means the heat in your stomach for digestion is very low. So this is acidic in nature. So one side, the child is tormented by this in the womb of his mother. And on another side, there are discharges. There is blood, asrak, vit, stool, mutra, urine, and it is kupa. It is a well, it is a pool of all these discharges. And by this time, the child has already become conscious. It is already 7 months. So after 7 months, when he is seeing his horrible condition in the womb of the mother, he is counting his days. When I will be relieved from this confinement. And Prabhupada is saying, very important thing, the so-called civilized man does not take account of this horrible condition of life in the womb. So generally, it is nature of Maya that we suffer, and after some time we forget that suffering. It is good to forget, but at least we should learn from the suffering. That is called as first class intelligence. If we don't learn, if we read from the Vedic literature, first class intelligence means we understand just by hearing. Prabhupada gives an example. A sane man, he hears from the scriptures that stealing is bad. It is papa karma, and there will be punishment for this in this world and definitely after we leave this world. So sane man gives it up just by hearing. That is called first class intelligence. Second class intelligence means from hearing he does not understand, but when he undergoes, then he comes to his senses. He may hear that yes, if one is stealing, it is papa karma and he has to suffer. But then that does not go into his understanding. He steals and then he is caught and then he is beaten by police, he is put inside the jail, then he comes to his senses. Then he thinks, yes, I should not do this again. That is second class. Third class is that he hears, he sees that others are also suffering. He undergoes suffering and still he does not change. Because it is very difficult to change our nature. So, it is said here that this living entity in the womb of the mother, when he is suffering this horrible condition of life, he comes to his senses and he is wanting to get released from this confinement. But Maya's influence is so great that even after suffering like this, his knowledge is covered and again he does not want to get released from going back once again to another womb. He does not remember that so much suffering, terrible suffering I had in the womb of the mother. So let me not enter into another womb. He is not able to take that determination. So, Prabhupada is saying here, it's very important, so-called civilized man does not take account of this horrible condition of life. So, we forget that. It's not that we do not know. I may have forgotten my suffering when I was in the womb of my mother, but I can definitely see the suffering of other living entities when they are born, isn't it? But still, people do not take into account this suffering. This is the degraded nature of Kali Yuga. This is the degraded nature of this age of Kali. That is why they are called as Pramattaha. Mattaha means mad, Pramatta means intensely mad. Why they are called Pramatta? Prahlad Maharaj says that for sense gratification, kurute vikarma, they are doing activities by which they will suffer. So they don't take into account. I suffered in the past, and if I act like this, I will suffer in the future. They don't take into account all these things. This is the degraded situation of this age of Kali. Moreover, what do they do? Forgetting that actually the child suffers in the womb of the mother, to increase his suffering, the child is aborted even before his birth. He is not released from that condition of life. That the child is suffering, let him come out. And then he can be given spiritual knowledge and he can come out of this confinement altogether. Rather, he is killed within the womb of his mother. Abortion, contraception. You see, this is this modern civilization. That is why Prabhupada used to say, this is soul-killing civilization. Actually, the child has an opportunity to become God-conscious right from the womb of his mother. He has the opportunity. We see that example. Prahlad Maharaj became God-conscious right from the womb of his mother. So, not only that opportunity, rather we find it is completely opposite. The child is suffering in the womb of the mother, and before he even comes out, he is killed. Not knowing that like this, I will also not be able to see sun. I will go into the different wombs, and before being born, I will be killed like this in many, many lifetimes. So people are not aware of this. So, Prabhupada is saying, unserious about the horrible condition of womb, such persons continue in materialism, grossly misusing the chance of human form of life. So this is a gross misuse. There is Gargi Upanishad, in which there is a very nice verse which explains about, here the word we can see the living entity is using for himself is Kripanadhi. Prabhupada translates, wretched soul. Wretched soul. So this word is very nicely described in the Upanishads. Yova etad, one who utilizes this human form of life. Yova etad aksharam. Aksharam means God consciousness, understanding about the Supreme Lord, understanding about Brahman. Yova etad aksharam aviditva, one who does not utilize this human form of life in understanding the Supreme Lord, in understanding Brahman, spiritual life. Yaha asmat lokat preiti sakripanaha. That kind of person, he is considered to be a kripana. He is miser. So Prabhupada explains why is he called as miser. Miser means he has everything. He has money, but he wants to just keep it in his bank account. He just wants to see my money is increasing, and he never utilizes that money. Money is not meant to be simply kept in the bank account and your zeros are increasing. What is the use of that kind of money? Isn't it? Money is meant for utilization. So one who in the human form of life who has got the wealth of intelligence, the wealth of different kinds of facilities the Lord has given in this human form of life to understand God. And that is why the Vedic scriptures are saying Athato Brahman Jignasa. Vedanta Sutra is saying this human form of life is meant for Brahman Jignasa. So if one is not utilizing this human form of life for Brahman Jignasa, he is called Kripana. He has been given all those facilities to come out of this miserable condition of life, but he is still misusing this human life like animals. He is called Kripana. And the opposite of that, Prabhupada is saying, is Udara or Brahmana. What is the meaning of a Brahmana? Ya etad aksharam gargi viditva. Viditva means one who understands, one who tries to understand. Asmat lokat, in this material birth, when he takes birth in this human form of life, Sabrahmanaha, he is called as Brahmana. So, if you see, Prabhupada explains this very nicely in terms of Arjuna's understanding of life. Arjuna understood that his actions are based on Kripana mentality. He is not ready to fight. He is crying. There are tears in his eyes. And he is not ready to do his duty. So, and he is not able to solve his problem. He is not able to come out of this understanding, this mentality. So he himself is saying that actually I am Karpanya Dosho. So Prabhupada says Karpanya is a dosha. Miserliness is not some great quality. Miserliness is a fault. It is called dosha. Karpanya dosho upahat svabhavaha. My nature is conquered by miserliness. So Prabhupada explains that actually in human form of life, it is very much possible to change our nature. In animal form of life, you cannot change. Prabhupada gives an example. Swayadi kriyate raja. You make a dog to sit on the throne of a king, and you put the crown of a king for a dog. Does it mean he will change his nature? So it is said, the moment you throw one chappal or a shoe in that assembly, he will immediately come down, jump from that throne to lick that shoe. Because that is his nature. Just by making him to sit on that throne of king, his nature will not change. It is not that the pig, if you tell him, sir, why are you eating stool? It is better to eat halwa. Do you mean to say he will change his nature? Animals will not be able to change their nature. But in human form of life, it is very much possible. Who will tell that verse from Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna says, by practicing devotional service, immediately one comes out of the three modes of material nature. Ram Gopal. Yes. Mam chayo avyavicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samaitetan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. What to talk about Rajoguna or even Sattva Guna, he can come out of the influence of three modes altogether by practicing devotional service. So, devotional process is so strong that it does not matter whether one is in the category of Rajoguna, one is influenced by Tamoguna, provided he takes the medicine properly. This Krishna consciousness is called Bhav Oshadham. It is a medicine. But if we do not take the medicine, if we are not interested in hearing, this hearing specially is considered to be an Oshadhi. We are not very fond of hearing. We will be very fond of hearing political subject matters. What is happening? So many people become very alert and they are very, very aware about what is happening. And they will be very alert to hear all those subject matter, what is happening here, what is happening in the neighbor, what is happening in the devotee community, what is happening in Bangalore, isn't it? Practically you can see them with mobiles. But when it comes to hearing Krishna Katha, we have no taste. Because Bhava Roga, we are suffering from Bhava Roga. And for this Bhava Oshadhi, Shravanam, hearing Krishna Katha, hearing the holy name of the Lord. So, this is the remedy for Bhava Roga. If we hear regularly, properly, attentively, Shraddhadhana, with faith, with attention, then Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. And then gradually Tadarajas Tamo Bhava Kama Lobha Dayaschaye Chete Eter Anabidham Sthitam Sattve Prasidati. Slowly the person will come to the mode of goodness and he will be happy. If we are still in anxieties, if we are still in distress, then we should understand we are not on Brahman platform, still influenced by three modes of material nature. If we want to remain Shudra, it is up to us. Krishna is giving us opportunity. Stri, Veshya, api, Shudra, te api yanti param gatim. But if we do not take advantage, just in the name we call ourselves as Brahmanas, if we still maintain our old nature, old habits, then it is not possible. Then it is not the mistake of the process. It is a mistake of one who is not taking the medicine properly. Otherwise, even one born in the family of Asura, forget about Shudra, one born in the family of Asura, he can become eligible immediately to perform Vedic sacrifices, which one gets opportunity after many lifetimes. But provided we take the medicine properly, then it is possible. So, this human form of life is considered to be very, very important. This change of our nature, Prabhupada, in one of his lectures, I'll just read this. He says, Yasya hi swabhavasya tasya so durati kramaha. Prabhupada is saying, everyone has got his natural propensity, swabhava. One's habit is the second nature. One who is habituated or one whose nature, characteristic in some way, it is very difficult to change. But devotional service is so great. Otherwise, very difficult. Someone who is influenced by tamoguna, imagine bringing him to sattva-guna. Is it very easy? Somebody is very passionate. He just wants to work hard for sense enjoyment. To bring him to sattva-guna, is it very easy? Isn't it? So, devotional service is so great that if we can perform it properly, then wherever we may be in sattva-guna, rajo-guna, tamo-guna, we can immediately come to the platform of Brahman. So, that is very, very important. So, Prabhupada is saying, in animal life, it is not possible to change one's nature, which is given by material energy. Prakrite kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvasha. Everything is carried out by Prakriti. Karanam guna sangasya sadasat janma yonishu. Why? All living entities are part and parcel of God. Originally, characteristic of living entities as good as God. So this we should recognize, that these false gunas which I have acquired is not my quality. I may be acting now in tamo guna or rajo guna. We should not be thinking, Prabhu, what can I do? This is how I can do. This is my nature. No, this is not our nature. Isn't it? Animal can say this is my nature. We should not be saying this is my nature. Because originally, Prabhupada is saying we are as good as God. Originally, we have got the qualities of God. Isn't it? So this is important. Simply, it is question of quality. Mame vamsho jiva bhuta. If you take a drop of sea water, quality, chemical composition is the same. Similarly, we are exactly of the same quality as Krishna. We can study. Why people say God is impersonal? If I am of the same quality, God is also person, how he can be impersonal? So if I am maintaining, if I am having this understanding that I am an individual, isn't it? Are you not feeling that you are individual? You have your likes, you have your characteristics, something you like, something you don't like, isn't it? Another person has something else. So, Prabhupada is saying, if we are part and parcel of God, and if you feel that I am an individual, and if we are part of God, why are you denying individuality to God? That he is impersonal, he is not individual, isn't it? So this is a very important thing Prabhupada is saying. I feel individuality, so why God should be refused individuality? This is nonsense. Impersonalist rascal, they cannot understand what is the nature of God. Bible says man is made in the image of God or after God. You can study God's quality by studying your quality, anyone's quality. I have got same quality. So this has to be understood. Next, Prabhupada explains very nicely. Because the quality is same, we have got all the propensities as God has. Krishna has got loving propensity with his pleasure potency Srimati Radharani. Because we are part and parcel of Krishna, we have also got this loving propensity. This is called Swabhava. Original Swabhava is, we have also got loving propensity towards God. Now being influenced by Maya, our loving propensity has changed from God to dog. Prabhupada says that. We were loving God, but now being influenced by Maya, we are loving dog. But when we come in contact with material nature, Krishna does not come into contact. He is called Achyuta. He is never fallen. We are called Chuta. Chuta means we have become fallen from our original position. So this is our position. So we have to become Achyuta Gotra once again. We belong to the same category as the Supreme Lord. And that is possible if we come in contact with the Supreme Lord through devotional service. So, that is why Prabhupada is saying, Prabhupada is quoting very important verse from the Prahlad Maharaj and also from Rishabdev. So Rishabdev, that is why he is saying, Nayam Deho Nirloke. In this material world, if you have got this human form of life, do not waste it like cats and dogs. It should be utilized for that happiness which we could not get even after going through the different planetary systems in this material world, in the three lokas, in the down, in the middle and in the upper planetary system. So, Prahlad Maharaj also says, that is why Komaram Acharet Pragno Dharman Bhagavata Iha. One should try to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead right from his childhood. Because by the time he comes to his youth or little old, then that Swabhava will not leave you. The old Swabhava which you have cultivated, you will not be able to change. It is like the green bamboo you can bend when it is green. Moment it has become yellow, it has become ripened, you bend it, it will break. So very difficult. But of course, devotional service is very potent. We should not become discouraged. Even if in our advanced age, somehow or other, if Krishna has been merciful to us, we should still utilize understanding that actually devotional service is very potent. Dhritarashtra, even in his ripe old age, by the mercy of great devotee like Vidura, he could get completely, he was able to solve this problem of human form of life and he attained perfection of his life. So that is why Prabhupada is saying that this word Kripanadhi is very, very important, miserly intelligence, and it is with this miserly intelligence this whole civilization has come into existence. Prabhupada says this is called a skin disease, me and mine. This is all because of miserly intelligence. Udara, on the other hand, he understands self-realization and he preaches to the whole world. Udara means actually broad-minded. Not only he works for his own self-realization, he works for others. So we'll stop with this. Granth Raj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai.